Johnny Appleseed, An American Who Made a Difference by Alice Sweeney. Meet Johnny Appleseed. His dream was to plant apple trees all over the western United States. American settlers were just starting to move there. Read on to learn how he made his dream come true. John Chapman lived from 1774 to 1845, when America was young. Johnny Appleseed was born in Massachusetts on September 26, 1774. His real name was John Chapman. Young John liked to play in an apple orchard near his house. John loved to play in the woods and be near animals. When John was about 23 years old, he had an idea. He knew that settlers were moving west. There, they would need apples to make different foods. Apples were an important fruit for the settlers. These are some foods they made from apples: apple pie, apple sauce, apple butter, apple cider. John dreamed of planting apple orchards for the settlers, so he filled a bag with apple seeds. Then he set out for the state of Pennsylvania to grow trees. Some people say that John wore a cooking pot on his head as he traveled west. The winter was cold and snowy, but that didn't stop John. He wrapped his feet in warm cloth. Then he made snowshoes out of tree branches. John felt at home outdoors, even in the winter. Spring came and John trudged on. His feet became tough like an animal's paws. For meals, he used his pot to cook ground corn. He also ate nuts and berries. John never hunted animals for food. Finally, John reached Pennsylvania. Once there, he got to work. He found land near streams and rivers. He pulled up the weeds. Then he planted apple seeds in neat rows. John planted the trees all by himself, but he wasn't lonely. Animals kept him company. They watched him work. At night, John slept under the trees. John liked to sleep outside with the animals. John made friends with Native Americans too. They showed him where to find the best nuts and berries. John showed them new medicines made from herbs. The Native Americans were not afraid of John because he was kind and gentle. After a few years, the settlers arrived. How happy they were to see John's apple trees for sale. John sold the trees for a few pennies each. If people didn't have money, John gave them trees for free. John became friends with the settlers. They would invite him for dinner. John would tell them exciting stories about his time in the wilderness. Before long, there were many settlers in Pennsylvania. So around 1801, John traveled west to Ohio. Again, he planted apple trees. And again, the settlers came and bought his trees. When many settlers arrived in Ohio, John moved west again. By 1828, he had planted his way to Indiana. The settlers called him Johnny Appleseed. This map shows where John planted apple trees. John traveled for nearly 50 years. Everywhere he went, he made friends, and everywhere he went, he planted apple seeds. Some people say the apple trees in the Midwest today came from John's trees. The next time you crunch into an apple, remember how Johnny Appleseed made his dream come true.